another intriguing kart season. But before they go green, we'll get you up to speed next. Welcome to California Speedway in Fontana, California, where in just 10 months, we will know who is the Kart FedEx Series champion for 2001. But there's a big season ahead, and this is the Kart FedEx Championship Series 2001 before they go green. Hello and welcome. I'm Paul Page. Much to talk about what this season holds in store for us, and we'll have an opportunity to meet with all of the contenders. This has been a winter of change, perhaps more so than in many, many years. This offseason seemed like a game of musical chairs, with the chairs being driver seats. All but 4 teams experienced a driver change over the winter. Possibly the biggest move came at Target Chip Ganassi Racing. Juan Montoya went to Formula One, and Jimmy Vasser was released. Replacing those former champs are Bruno Junqueira and Nicolas Manassian. Vasser moves from Ganassi to Patrick and teams with Roberto Moreno. Adrian Fernandez departed Patrick and partnered with Tom Anderson to form Fernandez Racing with Shinji Nakano as a teammate. Nakano vacated Walker Racing, where another Japanese driver, Tora Takagi, will fill the seat. Another major move saw Michael Andretti part ways with Newman Haas. Andretti goes to Team Motorola under the umbrella of Team Green.
It seems like you're leaving home type thing, but knowing though that once you get through that pain of leaving, that it's the best thing for you, and I felt that, that I needed a breath of fresh air.
Cristiano D'Amata will try and fill Andretti's shoes at Newman Haas. 2001 will see the return of a 2-time kart champion. Alex Zanardi teams with Tony Kanaan to drive for Mo Nunn. Brian Herta returns full-time with Zach Speed Forsythe, with Marcel Tiemann as a teammate. Indy Lights champion Scott Dixon jumps to kart with Pac West Racing. The 20-year-old Dixon will be the youngest driver to compete in 2001. Luis Garcia gains a teammate in German Michael Krum. Brazilian Max Wilson will drive for Brook Racing, while Oriol Servia will pilot the Sigma Champ Car. And perhaps most important of all of those changes that have happened over the winter, the fact that winners from last year have chosen to leave the teams with whom they won.
And that seems awfully strange, doesn't it, Paul? Because if you have a winning team, a winning driver combination, you think you'd want to keep that group together. But in fact, Michael Andretti, Jimmy Vasser, Cristiano D'Amata have all gone to new teams. Of course, Michael Andretti couldn't get the money he wanted at Newman Haas Racing, a team which he's been associated with for a very long time. He's gone to Team Motorola, being run under Team Green. And then, of course, Cristiano D'Amata with Cal Wells PPI got his first win last year. He's gone now to Newman Haas Racing to take Michael's place. Then Jimmy Vasser, our 96 champion, race winner, he has left Chip Ganassi, not because he wanted to, but he's gone to Patrick Racing, and I think we're going to see great things from him. But very strange to have these winners move to new teams.
But one thing that has not changed is our championship team from 2000, Penske Racing.
Did you guys make any changes during this offseason?
Yeah, I bought a new pair of shoes, but I guess that was about it, really. I mean, there's not much has changed at all.
We're not starting from zero like last year. At least in my experience, it's going to be the first year that I'm having the same equipment, same Honda engine package, or Rainer or Firestone tires, team-wise, everything. It's going to be particularly the same.
Going into winter testing, you're seeing all the same new faces, and you're basically continuing on the work that you started a year ago. And that's a good feeling, I tell you, because you don't have to start fresh. You can always, remember about when we did this, and this. So it's continuous development, which, hopefully is going to help us as we go into 2001. I mean, it's really hard to say, but, we're hoping that that's going to give us a little edge.
With 5 wins, 8 poles, and its first championship in 6 years, Team Penske possessed an edge in 2000.
All right, good job, Jill. All right.
And Roger Penske, with Jill DeFerrin at the wheel, takes win number 100.
I know who Helio Castro Neves is.
And Jill DeFerrin is going to take the championship. For Jill DeFerrin, 2001 brings the pressure of carrying the number 1 on the nose of his race car.
unfortunately, being the champion does not buy you any privileges going forward. So everybody started with 0 points again. You know, everybody be as hungry as ever. So for me, it's a fresh new start again.
We're not thinking about to defend, and we're thinking about to keep working hard. And who knows, in the end of the year, will be Gilles and I. Of course, I hope it'll be myself, because he had the opportunity once. But I'm sure it's going to be a great season to all of the Marvel Team Penske.
The way they distribute points in the Kart FedEx Championship Series rewards consistency, and it certainly worked out for Gilles de Ferran. He was consistent throughout the year and went on to a championship. His teammate at Team Penske was Helio Castroneves, not quite as consistent, but he did score his first win, and I think there's the very real possibility that he might see a championship at the end of this year.
Well, absolutely, Paul. He's got to be one of the preseason favorites. The key word for Team Penske, for both de Ferran and Castroneves, is the word continuity. They are the only team in this series that has the same equipment and the same personnel coming into 2001. Now, of course, de Ferran, he's had the same teams in the past with Walker Racing, Jim Hall Racing. It's his second year at Team Penske, but he's got the confidence of a champion. For Castroneves, he's now a race winner. He had some things go wrong early in the season, but coming into 2001, I think he knows he's as quick as anyone. And for the first time in his short career, he's coming back to the same team for the second year in a row. He could be dynamite during the 2001 season.
And when we come back, the Donut Man has returned, two-time champion Alex Zanardi. And we'll take a more in-depth look at Michael Andretti's decision to change teams. That's a pretty major start for Michael Andretti, his 40th career win. That was Toronto last year, and Michael Andretti's 40th Champ Car win. He's the leading active driver in terms of victories. So when you're doing it like that and doing it with Newman Haas Racing, why do you decide to change your team? It was a decision Michael Andretti made over the winter. Michael Andretti left Newman Haas Racing after 33 wins and a championship in 10 seasons. The 38-year-old moves to Team Motorola, becoming a third car for Team Green.
I needed a breath of fresh air, and the way it all worked out, you know, things happen for a reason, and it all worked out perfect for me. I'm very happy with the whole Motorola team. You know, I felt right at home right away. It's a very good team, and it's neat to be with new people, new ideas, and see how it is on the other side type thing. And so it's been a refreshing experience for me.
Many challenges come with staffing a new team. One is finding the chemistry between driver and crew in the short off-season. Andretti finds himself with a new team and a rookie engineer, Indy Lights engineer Eddie Jones.
Well, there's going to be a little bit of a learning experience for him, but I think the team is strong enough in that area that they'll be able to pull him through those areas, and hopefully I can a little bit with my experience. But I think, you know, even though he's new to Champ Cars, I think we're going to be competitive right away with him.
Another concern is the relationship between Andretti and Paul Tracy. They've taken each other out before, and now will they work together off the track?
Yeah, we had our run-ins, but that's because we're both competitive people. And we may have run-ins again, but it's only going to be because we're competitive. But it's not a personal thing or anything like that. And, you know, if we have a run-in, we work it out, which we did. You know, ever since Chicago a couple of years ago, we haven't had to get together because we talked about it, and I think we're taking care of each other a little better.
They may have a problem with each other because of an incident on the racetrack, and from a management standpoint, we have to make sure we get in there, nip the problem in the bud, discuss it, and get on. Michael and Paul have had their situations during the season. Paul and Dario have had their situations during the seasons. You know, it's not out of question that it won't happen again, but you know, I think we'll be okay.
If Andretti hopes to contend for his second kart title, this new team needs to be competitive immediately. Andretti led the championship for 5 races last year and intends to use the same strategy for 2001.
Finish every race. Do what I did last year. I think I did probably the best driving in my career last year, where I tried to be patient and be aggressive at the same time. And if I can do that, I think we're going to win the championship.
We want you to consider for a moment Michael Andretti's first season with new teams, and remember especially 1994, the first race at Surfers Paradise, Australia. Michael with Target Chip Ganassi and a brand new Reynard chassis that had never been tested. He brought it home to a victory. Now let's consider his team this year and some of the changes he's made. He's really going to be in an operation that is a one-off of an established team.
Well, the changes are as far-reaching as they possibly can be. He's back in a Renard chassis after having been in Lolas and Swifts, but for the first time, he's out of a Ford Cosworth and under Honda power. And remember, the Andretti's have had run of Newman Haas Racing for a very long time. So in every single sense of the word of change, it is a season of change for Michael Andretti. How will he fare? Well, I can guarantee you one thing. Come race day, we know for sure that Michael Andretti will be on a charge.
And let's consider, too, that one of his teammates now will be Paul Tracy. Let's go to Gary Gerould.
Coming down to the end of last season here at Fontana, Paul Tracy was a championship contender. First time, I believe, in your career that you went to the final race with championship hopes alive. Does that have any significance as you start a brand new season now in terms of carrying over momentum?
Well, obviously the last two races of my 2000 championship were disappointing. So that kind of ended the season with a little bit of sour taste in my mouth because we were in position to win the championship and it all kind of crumbled with bad luck in front of us. But I think that motivates myself to keep pushing. I've had two good seasons in a row. Obviously 99 was a great season. 2000 was another great season with 3 wins. And I'm looking forward to 2001 with, just keep doing what we're doing.
In this year when there's been so much change virtually with every team, equipment-wise you stay the same, but you lose Tony Cicali. How tough of an adjustment is that going to be for Paul Tracy?
Well, it really hasn't because I knew that Tony was going to leave before the season was out, and it wasn't until a few weeks ago that he decided to take a job with another team. So I knew that he was going away, and the team has backed me up. I've got Steve Chalice working with me, who's a guy that I've known since the mid '80s, since I started car racing. He's from Canada. I'm from Canada. We have a long relationship, friendship with each other, and we've been wanting to work together for quite a long time, but it's taken this long to put it all together. So for me, I'm excited about that. I'm getting to work with a very close friend of mine and looking forward to this new championship.
You've proved to have a good working relationship with Dario Franchitti as a teammate. Now Michael Andretti comes in kind of a separate adjunct, but a part of this team. Is that going to be a big adjustment?
I don't think so, because I think that Michael and myself are both a lot older and I think more mature now than we have been. And there's no question Michael and I have had a lot of conflict over the years, but we both decided that after the incident in Chicago in '99 that we're going to just knock it on the head and get on with it. And I think we're never going to be best friends by any means. But as a working relationship, he knows what my strengths are, and I know what his strengths are. And for us to both benefit, and Dario to benefit, we're all going to have to work together. We can all sit and fight with each other and do nothing but spin our wheels. But if we all work together, we're going to have the strongest team in the paddock, and I think that's what we all want to do.
Paul Tracy has been so close to a kart championship, but has yet to score one. Last year, 3 victories. He was in the championship fight for the last race of the season. This year, he too faces many changes.
2 big changes in the personnel department. First of all, Tony Kottman, last year's chief mechanic, the man responsible for those blistering fast Team Green pit stops, he's been promoted to the team manager for Michael Andretti. And then there's Tony Cicali. That's been Paul's engineer, his philosopher, his coach, the man who finally got all the potential realized from Paul Tracy that we all knew he had. He's going to Players Racing. How is that going to affect Paul Tracy for 2001? I don't have a clue, but it should be interesting to see if he can take those lessons learned and apply them with his new engineer, Steve Chalice, who comes from Dario Franchitti, to go for the championship once again in 2001.
And then there is the third member out of the Green stable, Dario Franchitti. Let's go to Gary Gerould.
Well, as you launch a brand new season, here's a man, Dario Franchitti, that I'm sure would like to just totally forget about what happened a year ago in the 20-race kart championship chase. You started out with that severe injury at spring training that forced you to play catch-up through the early months. Now you go into a brand new season, fresh, fit, ready to go. How big a difference do you think that'll make?
Oh, we're not finished testing yet, Gary. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that nothing goes wrong in the months up to the first race. But yeah, we can hope it's going to be better than last year, and that was a real handicap for us, that injury at spring training. No testing pre-season. Everybody was out there developing their cars. We didn't get the chance to do that, and it hurt us. It hurt us the whole year. Even towards the end, we were qualifying well and stuff. We just didn't have the data, the backup there to mount a consistent challenge. And it was one of those disastrous seasons, and we've taken some information from that, and hopefully we'll use it to the good in the 2001 season.
When you look back over the box scores, I think there were 11 did not finishes next to your name, and I think you mentioned 7 of those times it was on the first lap. How do you avoid that happening?
Well, there's 3 of those that I can put my hand up and say I know exactly how to avoid that happening. Nazareth, I actually spun the car before the start and hit the wall. Houston, I hit the wall trying to get out of trouble. I'd got myself in some trouble at the start there, and I was just over anxious. And Toronto, there was a second corner melee, and I got involved in it. And there are other ones I don't know. It's up to the other people to avoid running into me, I think. But we're just looking for some luck, I think, for this season. Looking for things that are out with myself and the team's control to sort of stabilize, and I think hopefully we'll be plenty quick enough, and that's when we can start challenging and hopefully win lots of races.
When you consider what happened last year and all of those misadventures, does that give you special motivation for this brand new season?
Well, a funny thing happened at the end of the season after the Fontana race. It went the same way as every other race. There's a big problem, and I felt I really wasn't interested in getting back in the car, going testing. And I got a call about 3 weeks into November saying, okay, well, you want to go testing in the first week in December? And I was there. I was so motivated, and I'm very motivated just now. I'm motivated to put last season behind me and get back to the front where where we should be, and to win races and try and win a championship.
This man ended up not being a championship contender last season. I can almost guarantee you he'll be back up there this year. Paul?
There's the story on Team Green. At Target Chip Ganassi, there are changes as well. In this case, they're in the cockpit. Championship Series before they go green. Well, when you look at Target Chip Ganassi and their numbers, they were very definitely the team of the 90s. The question now is, can they become the team of the new millennium?
I think the one constant in our team is change.
The checkers way for Alex Zanardi.
You are the man. Great job. Great job. I'll see you in Victory Circle.
Congratulations not only to Montoya, but to TRD and Toyota.
We feel we have the right philosophy, the right equipment, and the right sponsorship, and the right package to win.
But do they have the right drivers? The difference between changes at Ganassi in the past compared with this year is the driving changes will be handled by a pair of rookies, Formula 3000 graduates Nicholas Manassian and Bruno Junqueira, who won last year's Formula 3000 championship.
I think the biggest challenge is to being racing ovals. It's more difficult because it's another kind of race. When I did my first run, the oval said, that's completely different for everything that I did in my life. And I like it, but I think that's a big challenger.
I'm in a good team. I've got some things. The team is going to provide me a good engine and good chassis, and I'm going to work hard. I want to win the Rookie of the Year, and even more than that.
My goal is to win the 22 races that you're going to do. I know that's not possible, but I'm going to do the best races I can, maybe win a race or 2 or how many races I can. I don't know what to expect yet, but I will try my best.
When you have 2 champions on your team like this, these guys know how to win races, but they also know how to win championships. So I'm sure, before too long, maybe it's a little early right now to be talking like that, but I'm sure after these guys get some experience, however long that may take, they're going to be winning races.
Normally you would say if somebody's going to change both of his drivers, well, that just isn't going to work. But in this case, it's Chip Ganassi, and he's made rookies behind the wheel into champions in single seasons.
But the difference in the past is Chip Ganassi had someone like Jimmy Vasser there, someone with a lot of experience to say, hey, this is working or not working on the short ovals and on the super speedways. Now, obviously, Montoya came from Formula 3000. He was blindingly fast, but he had someone there as a guide, as a reference. Now they have 2 drivers with no experience with these cars or these types of circuits. I'll say one thing, Paul, it could be very, very entertaining to watch this team in 2001.
And reaching back to the past and joining us again, Target Chip Ganassi had 2 championships with Alex Zanardi. Well, the Donut Man is back.
The last time kart fans watched the Donut Man, he was running circles around his competition. In 1998, on his way to his 2nd consecutive kart championship, Alex Zanardi won 7 races and finished on the podium in an unprecedented 15 of 19 events. After his championship campaigns in 97 and 98, he signed a lucrative contract with Frank Williams' Formula One team. His wildly successful kart career turned into a disaster in Formula One. Zanardi didn't score a single point in '99 and found himself without a job in 2000.
Between the American fans, I don't think what I did, what happened to me in Formula One changed it much. But certainly, for maybe the European fans, what I did in Formula One did not help to create a good image of this series, in the sense that if what is considered to be the best driver over here goes there and fails to score a single point, then some people may wonder how good is this series, you know, how good the drivers involved in this series really are. I am sorry. That's all I can say.
While speculation about Zanardi's return to Champ Car started in January of 2000, in the end, Zanardi's options for 2001 were limited to just Mo Nunn's team, reuniting Zanardi with his former engineer at Target Chip Ganassi Racing.
What'd you have to do to sign Alex?
Write a big check. he seemed that he was ready to come back, so wasn't too big a problem. We didn't have to do much talking except the financial part.
I know there's a lot of work in front of us that needs to be done, but me and Maurice are big friends, and we are going to enjoy every single moment of the season in front of us.
In Alex's case, I think only confidence, perhaps lost a little confidence with going to Formula One. But as you know, I don't think that's a problem. He'll get over that pretty quick.
It's fantastic, you know, to be working again with Honda and next to Maurice. It's really good. I got a very fast teammate, but a guy that is very talented and is a big friend of mine. I see a lot of myself in him in my earlier days of my career, and I think we're gonna be a very strong team.
In his seasons with Target Chip Ganassi, Alex Zanardi was rewarded with 2 championships and plenty of victories. And one thing you can say, definitely the Donut Man is back.
And remember, Paul, when Alex left, he crushed the competition in '98. He had 7 wins, won the championship by a whopping 116 points. But keep in mind, he was with the best team with the best equipment. He went to Formula One full of confidence. Then things went wrong. Then he took a year off, and now he's back. And he's not back with Target Chip Ganassi Racing, but he's back with his old engineer, Maurice Nunn, in Mo Nunn Racing. Smaller team, back with Honda, back with Renard. The big question is, will he perform? He says he doesn't need the money. He's back because he's trying to recapture the passion and the fun of racing. And I expect to see more donuts in 2001 from Alex Zanardi.
One thing you can say when you look in his eyes, the passion is there. Part of the good news for Alex Zanardi, and in fact his teammate at Maurice Nunn Racing, is that they'll be going to the line this year with Honda power. And for Tony Kanaan, remember, he has scored 1 victory in the series, and it was a big one, the 1999 Michigan 500.
I think we know we are capable to win, and we know, you know, we can't do it. Alex has done so many times. I've done 1, but I think we can do it. But the key now it's not even think about that and try to fix the car and then find the best setup for us to go to work.
When we come back, Adrian Fernandez, now an owner-operator with a brand new team and a new teammate. And then the team he left, Patrick Racing. And Roberto Moreno has done it. Finally, in 9 races, 8 different winners, but Roberto Moreno is the king. Well, I think you can understand the exuberance when you consider it took him 15 years of competition in kart to find winner's circle. But for Roberto Moreno, it was 1 win on the season and a very important win as well. Let's go to Jan Beekes.
Paul, certainly one of the highlights emotionally last year had to be the win for Roberto Moreno at Cleveland. And that was an awesome run for you, but after that win, it got tougher, didn't it?
It got a little tougher. Championship is very competitive and gets competitive every race. So halfway in the season became more competitive, and we sort of still fought hard for it. I only won one race in the season, but our strong point with the Visteon team was to finish races. And we always finished very high up, which brought us third in the championship. Us from the Visteon team are very, very pleased with that result, and we intend to go to the next step.
Now, last year we talked about Super Sub gets a full-time ride. Now it's 2 years running. Does that help you just feel more comfortable?
Yes, it's much better working relationship now, because we all can just start from where we finish and go the next step. We got Toyotas for this season, and they are very, very competitive. I was very impressed with them. Our sponsors, Visteon, staying with us, and we have a very, very competitive team. And I'm very glad that Jimmy Vasser joined us because it brings more experience to our team.
With a very consistent season, Roberto Moreno stayed into the championship to the very end. He finished third in the championship, but he did have a shot at the title at the very last race of the season. Now let's consider Jimmy Vasser, the 1996 champion who saw most of his success in Champ Car racing with Target Chip Ganassi. He will leave Chip Ganassi and now join Roberto Moreno as his teammate at Patrick Racing. Let's go again to Jan Vigus.
After 6 years with the Ganassi team, Jimmy Vasser at the end of the 2000 season found himself ride shopping. How weird was that?
Yeah, it was different, that's for sure. You know, I was with Ganassi for 6 years, like you said, and really oblivious to those things of looking for new rides and really have to hustle for it. But you know, the right thing happened for me. I knew that it would, and the Patrick opportunity was there, and it took a little bit of time to put together. And we're still looking for a sponsor, by the way. But you know, honestly, it's the best ride possible. They were second and third in the championship, and working with Jim McGee and working with Roberto Moreno, I'm really looking forward to it.
Does that give you confidence knowing that Mr. Patrick chose you and signed you without a sponsor?
Absolutely. You know, I'm flattered, and it does, you know, give me a bit more confidence. But also, you know, it's going to be cool for me to be able to try to help them bring some things to their team and learn the things that they've been doing successfully themselves. So I think that the combination in interjecting myself and my knowledge and my past experiences into the team, and also with the addition of the Toyota engine, which is a better engine than they had last year, I think that you know, I don't want to scream too loud, but I think that the great things are going to come for the Patrick Racing team.
Pat Patrick is one of the more interesting owners, coming from a hard-scrabble past to become a very rich man and own Champ Cars. He's a guy who's known on pit road for taking a chance, taking a gamble, and for him, it's won a lot of championships.
But I think this year, Paul, it's not so much a gamble as a sure thing. He's brought aboard Jimmy Vasser. Jimmy said that he wants to prove to everyone, including himself, that Chip Ganassi letting him go after this last year was a huge mistake. He is fired up. He wants to go back, win races, and win another championship. And then Pat's changed from Ford Cosworth over to Toyota. That seems to be the way to go. TRD spending a lot of money in development. And keep in mind that not only have they made those two changes, but behind the scenes, everything is the same. So they do have a lot of stability. The team being managed by Jim McGee, one of the best in the business. And I think come race day, they're going to be very, very strong as they were last year. Keep in mind this team put both of their cars second and third in the championship. Their big problem from last year was qualifying. Jimmy Vasser told us just recently that that's what he's going to concentrate on, to get those cars to the front at the start of the races and then try to bring a championship home for Pat Patrick in 2001.
And Vasser coupled with Moreno will be a powerful combination. Now let's consider a man who's gone the way of Chip Ganassi and Bobby Rahal. It's Adrian Fernandez, who is now an owner-operator. Over the winter, driver Adrian Fernandez teamed with Tom Anderson, forming Fernandez Racing. Anderson comes from Target Chip Ganassi, where he led the team to 4 consecutive championships. Even with the experience of a Fernandez and Anderson, starting a team from scratch is no easy task.
I'm actually surprised, really, that it's been as smooth as it has been. We've been able to acquire some very experienced people.
The most difficult, I will say, just the time. I mean, just the time to, you know, to get things done. We have 30 people right now. The working relation with Tom is fantastic. We just work so good together. It's like we've been working for years, and that makes our jobs easier.
Despite a lack of testing and experience, expectations remain high for both Fernandez and teammate Senji Nakano.
I think Adrian has to win a race or two, for sure. He has to be consistent. I'd say he has to be in the top 6 in the championship when the points are done at the end of the year, I'd have to say, if you did that, you'd have to say that the first year was a tremendous success. For Senji, to lead a race or two, if he could get to the podium once this year.
We have a lot of things that are against us, but we have a lot of talent there. And that's my hope, that with this talent that we have on the team, they will be able to compensate the lack of time that we have for the first race and still be competitive and have the opportunity of winning the first race.
When you consider those drivers who became owners, consider that Bobby Rahal, as an owner-operator, took a championship, and that could just be in the numbers for Adrian Fernandez. One of the key ingredients at his new team is Tom Anderson.
And Tom Anderson at Chip Ganassi Racing had the reputation of being the calming effect, the glue. He will be the key point person at Fernandez Racing. For Adrian, though, the question is, can he balance being an owner and a driver? As long as he can segregate those two responsibilities and focus on nothing but driving during the race weekend, coupled with his change back to Honda power, there is a very good chance that Adrian Fernandez will be a strong championship contender this season.
And it starts right out as a two-car team with Shinji Nakano in the stable as well. Now, when we come back, we'll visit Team Rahal. A lot of changes there as well. During the offseason, CART named Joseph Heitzler as its new CEO. Heitzler takes over from interim CEO Bobby Rahal, who now is in Formula One. Heitzler now embarks on the challenge of growing CART in the ever-increasing competitive sports business world.
And the stars are the drivers and the engines and the chassis and all the technology that makes this work. And we have to focus and make that our marketing model.
When we come back, Christian Fittipaldi is now the #1 driver at Newman Haas. We'll talk to his new teammate, Cristiano D'Amata. The name is synonymous with Newman Haas Racing. In fact, only 3 drivers not named Andretti have scored victories for Newman Haas Racing. However, for the first time in the team's history, there will be no Andretti in the cockpit. Cristiano D'Amata will have the daunting task of replacing Michael Andretti at Newman Haas. Following a season where he scored his first career win, D'Amata is optimistic heading into 2001.
I think the biggest thing is getting to know everybody, and of course way of working is a little different too. I think those two combined they're gonna be the biggest thing for me to catch in this off season, and I have to be 100% switched on every time to try to learn that as quick as I can.
When you look back at the end of last season and you see Christian Fittipaldi winning the last race at Fontana and pocketing $1 million to go along with it, certainly that's great momentum and great incentive to get you launched into a brand new season. How significant in your mind is that, Christian?
I could pay you a couple of beers, right?
At least a couple.
No, it was definitely very, very good to finish the season like that. I was really happy. The team did an excellent job, especially in the last race of the year. And it's great to start the season like this. You're carrying a lot of momentum, as you said, and hopefully we can drag it on the whole season, which that will make a big difference at the end of the year.
After so many years with Michael Andretti as a teammate, you're now the senior representative from the driving standpoint for Newman Haas Racing. Does your role change at all?
I'm getting a lot older. No, I'm definitely gonna try as hard, if not even harder, than I was trying before. But I'm gonna try to use that experience that both the team and we built during all these years, and try to put it in practice and try to do like the best job out there. I know exactly how they work. They know exactly how I work. They know exactly how I like my car to be. So I think it can be very helpful for me.
How important is it to get off to a strong start? First race of the year, at least a podium finish.
It is important, but it's not like the most important thing on the face of the planet. It's very important because it gives you that extra motivation, but you have to remember that it's a series that consists of 22 races, and you have to average them out. And I don't know, if I get a bunch of really high points and a couple of wins during the year, I can even give away that first podium in the first race. I want to be up there when we come back here at the end of the season.
Talking about giving things away to start the season, that doesn't quite sound right. Christian Fittipaldi, championship contender, senior member now of the Newman Haas team, Paul.
Since our theme seems to be changed, let's consider Newman Haas Racing. They've lost their longtime lead driver, Michael Andretti, and they had a contentious winner with one of their sponsors. That, fortunately, was finally solved. Now they're ready to go to the line with Christian Fittipaldi and Cristiano D'Amata.
And for the first time in recent memory, there's no Andretti presence at Newman Haas Racing. Christian Fittipaldi takes on the role as lead driver, and between the two drivers, they only have 3 victories total. They've switched to Toyota power, but the buzz in the paddock is they expect these 2 young Brazilians to push very, very hard and come up with a number of victories in 2001.
Christian Fittipaldi finished last year as the winner of the 500 at California Speedway, and he'd certainly like to pick this season up starting exactly the same way. Now, a year ago, the winner of the first race at Miami was Max Papis. He's made some changes too.
We made some adjustment in the better way, as we think, and we always feel that, touch here and there, can put us in a better direction. But, besides the change in the chassis to Lola, we have a very similar package, and I'm very, very pleased for the support of Ford.
And, of course, the teammate for Max Papis is Kenny Breck, who had nearly a dream season last year. And I've got to ask you, as Rookie of the Year, and everything going so great, why change chassis?
Yeah, well, we need another challenge, we felt, I think. Seriously, I think that we looked at both options, available, and decided that this was the best one. So that's what we did.
How does it feel? Can you feel a difference in your early testing? Is a big difference between the 2 cars?
You can feel a difference for sure in the cars, but it's too early. We've done 3.5 test days together, me and Max, and it's too early to say, anything about anything right now. But for sure, you can feel a little difference in the way the car handles and so forth.
You had 2 second-place finishes last year. Do you think if you can get that victory, that then the doors would open?
Yeah, well, we got to open these doors. We had lots of opportunities last season to win. We were in a position several times, but things happen, But you do things, and that's how you learn how to do things. And this year, hopefully, it'll be better.
One of the areas, there were some occasions where you had some trouble in the pits. Is that one of the things you do in testing? Can you really work on pit stops and be sure there's no miscues?
Yeah, for sure. Always in the first year you come to a new series, it's a lot of issues you got to take care of and learn new tracks, new everything, and it's just hard. But I think we did a very good season. I think this year, every time I go to a track now, I'm on equal terms with everybody, and I should be getting along a little bit better.
Winning the championship is a pretty lofty goal for Kenny Breck, considering he's still looking for his first win in kart. But still, Breck is very capable, and it is not outside of his reach. At his team, there are changes in both equipment and personnel.
Well, really, the only constant is the power plant, Ford Cosworth, for 2001. They've gone from Renard to Lola chassis, and for Max Papis, a new engineer, and John Dick, who engineered Oriol Servia last year at PPI. But the biggest change, Paul, it's Bobby Rahal. No longer will he be on site, as he's gone to the UK to head a Formula One team. How will that affect the team's results in 2001? Well, we know both Max and Kenny are determined to find Victory Circle this upcoming year.
When we return, we'll visit with Alex Tagliani and Patrick Carpentier. Players Forsyth Racing. Houses in the sport is Jerry Forsyth's team. They're really stepping up big time, keeping the same drivers, Tagliani and Carpentier, but they've got some great new personnel. Players Forsyth keeps its driver lineup the same, but changes personnel. Bruce Ashmore was hired from Reynard and becomes team manager, while engineer Tony Sicali arrives from Team Green to work with Alex Tagliani.
I think there's huge potential with that team. I think both the drivers are good. Patrick's very good technical driver. Tag is good raw talent. And the engineering and resources that they have lend itself to be competitive in this series.
We want to be more consistent. Bruce is going to organize the team at the shop. He's going to direct all the technical aspect in the team. Tony is going to help me out with strategy and all the aspects that I need to improve in racing. Speed and going fast, it's not the only thing that will make us score points. So I think all those points are going to improve the team.
When you take a look at the record for Players Forsyth Racing for 2000, consider that 3 of those numbers could have been win column numbers. 3 times Alex Tagliani looked like he had it in the bag, and then a mistake in the cockpit cost him the race. Well, now he has a coach to help him out with those.
Well, Tony Cicali, who now leaves Paul Tracy, is much more than an engineer. As you said, he is a coach. It's the calming effect that Alex needs to take that talent and use it to its greatest extent to get to victory lane. Then his teammate, Patrick Carpentier, he's been given what every athlete dreams of, a second chance. He knows this is a do-or-die year for him. The other big change at Players Foresight is the addition of Bruce Ashmore. He was the leading force behind Lola in the early 90s. He was the brain force behind the Renard and its success from 94 until present. They've brought him aboard to oversee the team and guide these 2 young talents.
And Jerry Forsyth is involved in another team out of Central Ohio. It's Zaxby's. Its lead driver is Brian Herta.
I'm confident that we've got the elements to be able to win. We've got the equipment, and we've got some personnel that can win. So now it's down to us actually getting the most out of all that. But I think it's out there. It's possible.
Proving the concept that the Indy Lights Series is one of the training grounds for kart, the champion of the series, New Zealander Scott Dixon, now has a ride in the Champ cars. We'll talk to him when we return. Dominated the 2000 Indy Lights season en route to the championship. He now joins one of the elder statesmen in kart, Mauricio Gugelmin, as a teammate at Pac West Racing.
It's a big jump and something that, we've been working towards for, a long time, ever since I started racing go-karts. So, it's kind of hard to sort of, take it all in, to finally see that we're actually going to be in the series and racing with, 28 or so, the very best drivers around. I want to get the team back and consistently battling for the podium and wins, and that consistency will give you the championship, but we have to take it one step at a time, and I think by having the package right, everybody's confident that can be done again.
Michel Jourdain will once again drive the Herdeg car. The team will be powered by Ford engines, and as a native Mexican, Jourdain is excited to get the new season started on the brand new road course in Monterrey, Mexico.
The track, I like it. I think it's going to be a very good show, and the people, in 1 month they were completely sold out. You cannot get a room within 2 hours almost from Monterrey, so it's going to be an amazing event. I'm sure it's going to be the best race and the whole event of the year.
We'll be back with our final thoughts right after this. It's the FedEx schedule for 2001 with some exciting new circuits. The season starts on the new road course in Monterrey, Mexico on the 11th of March. The race at Rio has been iffy since last year and now has been canceled. On the 22nd of July, it's the Great Michigan 500. Then 2 brand new courses in Europe. And the season and the champion determined in the final race of the season, 500 miles at Fontana.
Well, Paul, all through this program, we've been talking about all the amazing changes, and it's kind of mind-boggling when you think about the new drivers, the new teams, the new engine and chassis combinations, the new change in rules pertaining to the engine package itself and to the aerodynamic package. And we've just seen changes here with the announcement of the schedule. All the new venues, including Mexico, Germany, England. But the one that I'm really looking forward to is that 1.5 mile oval in Texas. The 24-degree banking. We're in test sessions already. Speeds in excess of 220 miles per hour, despite attempts to try to slow these cars down. I can't wait till the end of April because I think Texas may be the early highlight of this new race season. Now let's go out on pit road and check in with our colleague Jan.
Gary, if there's been a common theme of those we've talked to about the upcoming season, it's how competitive it's going to be out on the racetrack. Well, if it's tight and it's close, competitive out there, you know what that means. The race may be well won or lost here on pit road. Now, kart teams do have something new to play with this year. It's called single probe refueling. Remember when the vent man would have to lean over the car to get to the air jack and to the vent? He can now be moved because all that, at least as far as the vent is concerned, is going to be incorporated in the fuel nozzle. So then he can take this air jack and move it somewhere else on the car, wherever the team decides it would be the safest, maybe to the back. So therefore now we're going to have a safer procedure, and if the racing and the competition is as close as we think it's going to be, I think the fastest pit stops we've ever seen will take place in 2001.
Well, certainly pit stops were a critical part of race victories last year, but for this year it's going to come down to mistakes. The teams are so good, the drivers are so good, whoever can have a flawless weekend from that Friday open practice session now through the checkered flag on Sunday will come away not only with the most race victories, but also the championship.
It's certainly going to be quite a season with a lot of pressure on the teams, but perhaps the greatest pressure will be on the kart rules makers. They've eliminated most of the testing, and they really need to work hard on figuring out how to get these cars racing side by side and passing, especially on the short tracks, and that is an enormous challenge. Well, we've given you a look at what it may look like during the year 2001 for the Kart FedEx Championship Series. We hope we've given you a little insight and some things to expect. I'm Paul Page for Parker Johnstone, Gary Gerald, and Jan Beekes. We'll see you at the races. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.